Hello, everybody. We are very, very exciting today to be with you. So I'm Laurent Vigouroux. I'm the EVP Brand Ambassador of B2Wise. And today I'm very excited to share with you this Etex business case. Because think, what did you do last year during 2020 pandemic? Remember, what did you do? Okay, these guys have done an amazing job. They have changed all their supply chain, and that's crazy. So I'm with us. We've got Peter. Hi, Peter.
Hello, Laurent. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. I'm Peter. You can read my full name under my picture. So I'm an Etex IT, and my role is product owner for DDMRP solutions. I joined Etex 5 years ago, and before that, I like to call that my previous life. I was an external SAP consultant for 22 years, always implementing supply chain solutions like MRP planning, capacity planning, scheduling, and forecasting.
Excellent. Welcome, Peter. Welcome, Peter. We have an IT issue, and Estelle will join us. Hopefully, she will be able to join us in few minutes, just to be sure that her microphone just didn't work. Okay, so let's keep going. Peter, just tell us what are the products you are manufacturing and distributing in Etex?
Yes, Laurent. So I think you all know Etex. If you look around in your environment, you will definitely see Etex building products. We produce a couple of products like corrugated sheets for buildings, exterior claddings. We have a division called Industry. They produce specialized products for insulation, like the inside of tunnels is often insulated with our products. Should be resistant against super high temperatures. And we have a new division called New Ways. We're very proud of that. And they specialize in lightweight building in lightweight houses and constructions.
Very good. So Etex seems very big. Huh? How big is Etex in numbers?
Yeah, it's a global company. It's family owned. Our headquarters are in Belgium, but we are present in 42 countries. We have more than 100 plants, and we employ over 13,000 employees, which we call teammates. Our turnover is about 3 billion a year, and our working capital in 2019, this is a bit an old figure, is 224 million euros.
Wow, that's amazing. And this big company with a global footprint all around the world. So you should have some big IT side to a big IT team and a big IT tool to manage all that.
Yeah, if you look at Etex, until a few years ago, Etex is a result of mergers and acquisitions. And until a few years ago, we can say Etex was like a financial holding, controlling largely independent companies. But a few years ago, 3 years ago, there was an important movement started. We call it One Etex. And the idea is to unite all the companies together. And the goal is to simplify, harmonize, and automate wherever it adds value. Now, when I say independent companies, it is true with one exception. They all run on one SAP system. We consider that as a big asset. So if we do an acquisition, the first thing we do is to integrate that company in our unique one SAP system, a global system. Yeah.
Excellent. So you've got one global SAP. That's impressive, huh? With all these brands all around the world, all this global footprint. So the planners should be very happy to plan in detail with this nice tool, correct?
Well, yes and no, Laurent.
Sorry, Laurent, can you hear me?
Oh, welcome, Estelle. Yes, we can hear you. That's very good.
Yes, I've got the sound, but I haven't got the cam. So
okay, let's see the cam, the sound. So Very, very good. Very happy to have you on board, Estelle. Finally, we've solved this issue. Okay, Estelle, just can you present yourself, and then we'll keep going with Peter just afterwards. So yeah.
Okay, sorry for this IT issue. I'm a supply chain specialist. I'm not an IT specialist, so I'm very sorry. So I put a suit, everything, so you can see me, but that's okay. Let's imagine. So I'm Estelle Gérard. I've been working for Etex for 9 years now, different position. And since July 2019, I am DDMRP Business Process Manager in the Supply Chain Center of Excellence. So I'm working closely with Peter for sure. So sorry.
That's perfect. So welcome on board, and let's keep going. Perfect. So Peter, you were talking about the planning in all the locations based
Yes.
on SAP. Is it correct? Is it right?
Yeah, I have explained that we use SAP globally. All companies use it, but they mainly use it for operational purposes. So the stock is managed, finance is managed in SAP, but for planning, we have APO, and most plants do use planning runs in SAP or APO, but to be honest, they all use it in different ways, and nearly always it is enhanced with own spreadsheets. So I wouldn't call it Excel hell, but we definitely have a lot of Excel sheets, and they are very local, and there's a lot of knowledge inside the heads of our planners.
Oh, and this situation, is this situation sustainable? I mean, what's the mindset?
No, it's not sustainable. And earlier on, I was mentioning this one Etex movement. And one of the main goals is to harmonize the processes, to have one way of working. And to be honest, we have been using that as a great support for our project, because there is a strong desire to kick out Excel sheets and work towards one way of working. And that's what we're trying to do on this DDMRP journey.
Excellent. So leaders, huh? You definitely want to be pioneers to lead. That's one of the motto of Etex. Okay, so Estelle, can you tell us about this amazing journey, rolling out 45 locations with DDMRP during 2020 pandemic? What are the big milestones?
Yes, for sure. So I propose to tell you the Etex DDMRP journey in 4 phases. The discovery phase, the pilot phase we did in 2019, the rollout plan in 2020, and for sure the next steps and key takeaway.
Excellent. So let's keep going. What's the first spark? What is the initial of all this DDMRP journey in Etex?
Yes, Laurent, it all started in South Africa, actually, in 2017. And to be honest, we mentioned the core values of Etex. Pioneer to lead is one of them. And this is an excellent example of Pioneer to lead. It was a local initiative. They were looking for a better solution for their production planning. And they found B2Wise. And I did a kind of pilot, purely local and purely standalone, not connected to our SAP system. So they were just exporting data into the tool and doing planning. They had great results. The main result was that it was an enormous time saver. Before they had multiple planners doing the planning for, I think they had 5 or 6 plants. And now with this solution, just one planner could do, I don't know, I think they had around 2,000 parts. That was the biggest result.
Excellent. So big start, nice start. And what's interesting is in parallel, there were some other initiatives inside Etex.
Yes, so this was picked up by our exteriors division in 2018. And they did a small pilot in terms of materials, just 5, with an Excel sheet, but they had impressive results. I used it for a couple of months, and they were able to draw 3 conclusions. One is that the results were promising. They could reduce the stock, improve customer service. But secondly, that the local solution is time consuming. They were spending like 95% of the time exporting data. They had 8 or 9 Excel sheets they had to export from SAP every day. And then only 5% of the time was needed to do the planning because, yeah, it's Excel. They just put DDMRP in formulas and they were calculated automatically. But then, of course, they had to re-import, retype the purchase orders manually in SAP. That was the main outcome of this pilot. But we definitely saw the potential. Yes.
Yeah, you saw the potential, but the management of the files were too heavy, definitely. And Estelle, what was the initiative at the same time in parallel? There were initiative in another branch of Etex.
Yes, exactly.
Division.
Yes, exactly. Before, as Peter explained, 3 divisions. So we see a division from exteriors. Etex building performance also started to getting knowledge on methodology, on DDMRP, did some DDMRP test using also Excel spreadsheets as the same. And as the One Etex movement was growing, they asked us, each division, to speak each other. We are not enemy now, we can speak each other. So it was nice. And we keep in contact with other division, and we said, okay, now exteriors, building performance, we want to test and we want to implement DDMRP. So let's discuss this with the top management, with our manager, and with the value of pioneer to lead. I'm sure they will let us to start, and it was the case.
And it was the case, and there were a movement, on a big movement in Etex that push you and support you. What was it?
Yes, so by now we have reached February 2019, Laurent, and this was definitely the tipping point. So there were a couple of things happening. First of all, there was a central supply chain organization created. It was new, didn't exist before because it was all local in the companies. So that is Estelle is now business process owner in that corporate supply chain. And what we did in IT is to mirror that organization. So whenever supply chain has a process owner, we created a new role called product owner. So that's why Estelle and me are a tandem. She owns the process, I own the product. That worked very well. And then, very importantly, you can see it faintly on this slide. We had a workshop with Carol Petak. So we were very fortunate to have her for half a day. We invited some senior managers, and she really ignited, I would say, something in Etex. I'm not sure who has met her, but she's very convincing. There were some finance people in the room, and she targeted her message specifically to the finance manager, and that was, a tipping point, definitely. Yeah.
Wow. So, having Carol on board, that helped you, supported you on the project. So we've got some pictures of that event.
Yes. So on this picture, you see Carol, of course, to the right, and to the left is Claire Anet, who was and still is our super DDMRP champion, I would say. She was the first to get certified as a demand-driven planner professional. We also created our core team. In that time, we bought books. If you look behind me, you see a subset of my DDMRP books. No, just kidding. And actually, at the left-hand side, you see there's a little anecdote here. So I bought a book, and I asked Carol, would you like to sign it? So she opened the book, and she saw it was written Etex IT. Oh, she started getting worried. Are you from IT? So apparently her experience with IT were not so positive always. So she asked me, do you want me to write a personal message or a message for IT? I said, no, write something for Etex IT. And then she wrote this: Dear Etex IT, best wishes on your demand-driven journey, and then be a leader and not a barrier. Now, I found that super inspiring. I've been using it ever since, as it defines, my attitude. I try to be a leader and not a barrier, and not saying I doesn't fit in a template or my architect won't like it. No, you can just be cooperative, try to find out, you know, what's the reason, what's the requirement behind the requirement behind the requirement, and that has been our attitude, our way of working.
And I can confirm,
Excellent.
Peter. I can confirm what you are saying because business has a lot of demand, a lot of requirements, and you were a good answer and a good leader for us and not a barrier. So yes, you succeed.
Yeah, it's a team effort. Huh? It's the whole team who has done it. So
yes.
Yeah, yeah. And with the inspiring Carol tag, that's crazy. And
absolutely,
then you
yes.
pushed you started to increase your skills on DDMRP, the understanding. So how was it?
So we decided for sure to train. We educated more and more team with the demand-driven institute training. For example, we had a supply chain meeting with a lot of supply chain manager, and we play the DD Bricks game. So, and it was not only supply chain manager, there were also purchasing guy and some from other function to be sure everybody can understand. On the picture on the top, you can see it was in Otmarsheim, and in Otmarsheim we also invited maintenance guy, we also invited production guy and HR guy, because it's a project of all for the company and not only for supply chain.
Wow, a lot of people, huh? But how many people were trained actually?
Around, I didn't count very precisely, but around 50% were trained on DD Bricks, so with the game. So as I said, not only supply chain manager, 15 people were trained on DDP, Demand Driven Planner. So for us, we decided that DDP was for user, for planner, the guy who use the system day to day. And also we did, and it's not a lot, we know, just two, so Peter and I did the demand-driven leader. But now, as we started with more than 1 year with some plants, and as we are in the improvement phase, we need to do the link with the SNOP, what we called, we will tell you later, the DDOM. So with this training, DDL, I think it will be for supply chain manager and maybe over manager of the company. So we need to increase these figures, because two for sure, it's not enough.
Yeah, but and it's very interesting and to see that you have invested in knowledge and increasing the skills of your team. Excellent. So yeah, you were almost ready to go, no? With that.
Yes. yes. So we decided.
Yeah. I think we can say that the discovery phase had completed by that time, and we were ready for a real pilot. And we realized, of course, a clear outcome of the previous exercises was we need a tool. And there was already some experience with B2Wise, but that was a pure local initiative. So we did a real RFQ. We scanned the market. We checked the DDI website for compliance software. And we had a short list of 4. And at the end, we choose B2Wise. And to be open with you, I think we had 4 main reasons. The first reason is the system itself, the functionality. It's very rich in functionality, and planners like it. It's user friendly. The second one was, of course, it's compliant in DDMRP and for demand-driven SNOP. The third reason was the roadmap. We think that B2Wise has a strong development roadmap. They listen to the customers, and we had a lot of developments in the past year, which we needed, and we retrofitted to our live plants. And then last but not least, the SAP connector. At the moment when we did the RFQ, the SAP connector was not existing, but we had a very good offer from B2Wise, and I think it's fair to say that we more or less co-developed it, and that has been an enormous help. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You help us developing this SAP connector, and yeah, it was very good. Yeah.
It's bidirectional, so we have a download once a day and an upload in real time. very important to mention here is that we have defined clear data ownership. So we do use B2Is for dates, quantities, and above all priorities, of course, color-coded, very good. But at the same time, we use SAP for other things like sourcing, pricing, and SAP is our master system for all transactional data and all master data. So the two systems very nicely work together with the clear ownership where is done what.
Yeah, so yeah, this SAP connector is a really asset, is a very good asset for you. That's what you mean?
Absolutely. We have, I would say, little to no issues, maybe at 1 or 2 issues in the last 18 months. So it's very stable, and no, it's perfect. We were blessed again with our one SAP system because it makes it easy. Only one interface. Yeah, we have some more details later on, maybe not for now.
Okay, so let's now, you were ready to launch a pilot with knowledge, people that understand the methodology, with a tool that is 100% compliant. So how was your 3 real pilots?
Yes, exactly. So we were ready, and we say how to start. We have a lot of plants, we have a lot of material, and for this we follow the advice of Carol. She told us by starting with raw material and distribution of finished goods to the distribution center. This is what we are called trading goods. We already stabilizing a lot for the plants since we stabilize the input with the raw material and the output. And we know that we have a lot of constraints on the production scheduling with the plants. So we say, let's start with raw material and trading goods, and let's choose 3 approach. The first one is to test with a centralized approach. This is what we did with the Luxembourg team for raw material with Claire. We did another test with another division, EBP, for plasterboard, because this is different. And we did the last one with the Vernon for paints. So 3 different pilots, locally and centrally, but for raw material and trading goods.
Excellent. So what's about this first pilot? Let's go deeper. What was the results, the lessons learned?
But it was for sure, as this first pilot was a succeed, it helped us for the rest of the rollout, and we selected strategic not 5, but few strategic raw material, which are planned by a central team, and we had very good results, big stock reduction. I will let Claire you because we will have a short video.
Yeah, but no, we will not have the short video.
Sorry.
So that's why now let's keep going on what are the results.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Claire, because maybe you can send it later, but Claire did a good explanation on this video, and for sure, so the results regarding inventory, we decrease around 40%, and she's managing more than 500 buffers. So very good results with this approach. So sorry, Claire. I will send the video later.
She did a great job, and her testimonial is on LinkedIn. So just go and chase it, and you will find this testimonial that is very great. Let's go on Ottmarsheim in Eastern France, and the same. Jean-Pierre testimony will be sent on LinkedIn, but still a comment, Estelle?
Yes, the lessons learned regarding these pilots, it was more, we didn't focus on the reduction of the stock because we would like to be sure we have a good service level. As you can see in the photo, Ottmarsheim is producing a specific technical plasterboard, pink, sometimes pink, for its weather defense. And no, for sure, no shortage. It was not allowed. So we focus on the methodology, and the main testimony was from Jean-Pierre regarding the time. He saved 20. It's difficult to evaluate, but for sure at minimum 20% of his time on planning tasks. That allows him not to go to the swimming pool, but to work on the step 5, to chase the supplier with the execution part. So, and it was for sure save time on planning tasks, because when the system is correctly parametered, the proposal is correct, and take the time for be sure you don't have shortage, and maybe you can advance a proposal, or you can postpone an order to the supplier.
Excellent. So that was the second pilot, and then the last pilot was in Vernon for painting.
Yes, and there we learned an important lesson, Laurent. So not everything went super good. What we were a bit over enthusiastic. So because Claire is a very experienced planner, she can handle hundreds of materials. So we thought in Vernon, let's put all raw materials and all finished products in the tool from day one. That didn't work. We have around 3,000 finished products, so they were not well sized. We had some issue with the master data. So that resulted in, let's say, 30 to 40 pages of materials, red, green, yellow, blue colors. It was too much, overwhelming. It was overwhelming for the planner. And we can say he was not in control. And that's a very important lesson. From that moment onward, we changed our approach, and we want the planner to be in control at all times. So we think big, but we start small. Maybe just 5 products, make him understand the 5 buffers, make him feel comfortable, and then extend. That is our important lesson learned in Vernon.
Yeah, learn and adapt. Huh? That's the key point, yep. Definitely. And what's about the IT side? Because you are one of the IT guys, and how?
Yes. So very briefly, a little bit about the interface. So we have a daily export. What do we send? We send master data, we send stock data, we send consumption data, and of course we send open supply and open demand. Now there is a little special thing for the demand. As Estelle explained, advised by Carol, we want to do raw materials independent of finished products. So normally your open demand would be sales orders, but we don't have the sales orders because we don't have the finished products. Mm-hmm. So open demand for raw materials is in fact reservations in production orders. So we just load the reservations as open demand. That's the second category. And then we also load the stock transfers as open demand. The interface back to SAP is in real time. We load purchase requisitions, not purchase orders. That is an informed decision. Why? Because we want the sourcing and the pricing to be done in SAP, right? So a purchase requisition. We have one single DDMRP system worldwide. So many people said to me that that's going to limit you because you cannot have separate settings, different settings for different plants. We turned that around to our advantage. Remember, one Etex, one way of working. So to have one set of settings is a perfect enabler to get that one way of working, right? So, and we are still happy with that decision. Our go live approach is extremely flexible, I would say. The only thing you have to do literally is to change one little field in the material master. It's the MRP type for those who know a little bit about SAP. If they change the MRP type to the value planned in DDMRP, then 2 things happen. 1, the material is excluded from the planning runs in SAP. The planning runs themselves don't change, they keep on running, but they don't plan that part anymore. And second thing that happens is automatically the parts, all the data of the part are interfaced to B2Wise. The last topic is single sign-on. So this was developed for us by B2Wise. It's been a great help. It provides security. So whenever a user or a planner leaves Etex, he's removed from our Active Directory, so he can't use B2Wise anymore. And secondly, it's a huge time saver. There is no work on password and user management.
Excellent. So IT was definitely supporting this rollout. And so now with this return of experience on these 3 pilots, then you developed your own approach of rolling out, and you've had a big idea, and you have this personal approach, company's approach. What is it?
Yes, and our motto was think big, start small, learn fast for sure, and scale in control. It was or what we want to do. So with the lessons learned we had, so just start with 5 material, and we allowed the planner to decide which SKU we want to add in the tool, and we onboard more SKU each week, but as his own rhythm. If he wants to do it in 2 weeks, okay, let's do it in 2 weeks. But when you add it, you will be sure that you will have the time to size the buffer correctly, to check the parameters, to be sure after that you will be confident with the figures we will have. And we know that we will speak about change management, and for a planner, it's a big change. So when he feels confident with the figures, when he thinks in control, for sure it can work. So it was our approach, but think big. So they asked us, okay, you have to put DDMRP everywhere, in all plants with everybody. Said, okay, let's do it. But there is a little things in 2020.
Oh yeah, that was the plan end of 2019 and
Yes.
early 2020. But
Yes,
yeah,
we thought really big. We had big plans for 2020, and then 15th of March 2020, COVID, lockdown. Now we're a global company. That has an impact. Some plants were closed for 1 week, maybe for 5 weeks. Some were closed for 10 weeks. Some were not closed at all. We have 100 plants. We have thousands of suppliers. Customers started canceling sales orders, but we are also in the do-it-yourself market. People had more time, so they started redecorating the house. So the demand for plasterboards was exploding.
wow.
There was variability everywhere, we can say. And we have been using DDMRP not to the fullest extent. It was again a learning, but you have to understand, in March, we were still in the beginning of the rollout. If you look back now, we see the stock going up. We could have done better using DDMRP step 5, managing open supply, because that would give us accurate priorities every day. We could have canceled purchase orders, but we turned it to our advantage. And we use this now as the perfect illustration of the power of this DDMRP step 5 in every workshop that we do. So we can really say that DDMRP was our vaccine for the COVID-19 crisis. Another impact of the crisis was that we were not allowed to spend any money externally, no training, no external consultants. And again, we turned it to our advantage because it forced us to build a really strong core team. And now we are on our own. We can really do this rollout ourselves. We're not dependent on externals, which is much better. We save money, and the knowledge is inside Etex. It's really owned. So that was, yeah.
Excellent. And then there were other impacts, unexpected impacts with this COVID crisis.
Yeah, a little side step. We are really proud of this because Etex was able to help society at 2 moments. In March and April, as you may remember, there was a shortage of face masks. Now at the left-hand side, you see one of our factories in Belgium has professional stitching machines, and they were using those machines to produce face masks. And now, when the vaccines are there, some of the vaccines need to be stored at extremely low temperatures. So we use our SlimVac products for insulation, and the vaccines are kept in those boxes and can be stored on a low temperature. Just a side step.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's definitely learn and adapt even in the business side, and then you had this new this new approach for launching a plant location. So how did you adapt the methodology?
So we learned and adapted. We learned from the Vernon case, which taught us we have to start small. And because of COVID, we couldn't do workshops on site. Otherwise, we would have traveled all over the world. We couldn't do it, so we had to do everything remote with Teams. And our approach is, in every new site, we do 4 to 6 workshops, not too long, 2 hours maximum. And these workshops are very practical. We do a little bit of DDMRP training, not the DDP training, of course. We don't have the time and we can't spend that money. But some aspects we train, like it's normally built around the 5 steps of DDMRP: strategic positioning, buffer calculations, and so on. And very importantly, every workshop from the first one onwards, we do with our own data in the live system. So the planners see their own materials, their own purchase orders in B2Wise. And as Estelle said, we focus on raw materials and traded goods. So these are like cycles. We like to think about this as planting seeds. So we go to a site, we educate 1 or 2 planners, do 10 materials, and then they're on their own basically. They can do more materials themselves. They decide on the pace. And that is why we could do so many sites in such a short period of time.
Yes, and another.
Sorry, Laurent, I'm very disappointed. You skipped the slide of the core team.
No, it's just after. Look at that.
Oh,
And that's why, because to do that, you need a very strong core team, isn't it?
exactly. Sorry. Exactly. Yes. To do that, we created a core team, so a DDMRP core team, and we had 2 meetings per month all together to exchange on the rollout. If one guy has a problem with one plant, and so we also created a strong community of users with a monthly meeting, and every month we added new members. And with this, for the planner, it was good because he said, oh, I'm not alone in my plant. I'm not alone struggling with B2Wise or with DDMRP methodology. I've got some colleagues that can share with me some tips. And this was very powerful. And also, we faced a language issue, if we can say. Sometimes it was difficult. If I take the example of a French guy who is explaining in English to a Lithuanian guy in English also about DDMRP, it's not really so easy. So we asked to have some super champion in each country to help us when we have more than 1 plant in the same country. It's for sure it's okay, and we ask us their help. So we added the super champion in our core team.
Excellent. The core team is great, and so yeah, results.
Results.
2020, 2020. How was it?
So we deployed DDMRP methodology in 45 different locations in 2020. So as you can see, some in LATAM, in Africa, in Indonesia, most in Europe, in France, in Spain, and so on. So, and the results, we are still waiting for some results about figures, but for the rest, the results are for sure good because our boss said, okay, so now you have to deploy for the rest. If you remember, 100 plants, only 45, so still a lot of plants to do. So this is our plan for 2021.
Excellent, and you have this very disruptive features that are coming from DDMRP. Peter, can you talk about it?
Yeah, it's a bit detailed. Sorry for the detailed slides, but what we try to illustrate here is that I could say B2Wise is DDMRP and beyond. So these are some functionalities that are not necessarily part of standard DDMRP, but are in the tool, have been developed for the customers, and we use them a lot. Upper left, priority share. This is for optimizing trucks. Sometimes if you want to send a truck from a plant to a DC, it better be a full truck. Now in B2Wise, you can do this interactively, and you can choose your own unit. So it can be done by base unit. In our case, it's pieces, or by ordering unit. It's a pallet, or by weight, or by volume, or by money. At the right-hand side, network visibility. Now, this is a kind of revolution, I would say, in Etex. In SAP, typically, everything is authorized by plant. So if you are a planner in Belgium, you can see all the parts, but only in Belgium. In DDMRP, we turned this 90 degrees and we authorized by portfolio. So what this slide shows you is a raw material which is used in 7 countries. Each block is a country. And the planner can see in one glance, this product is overstocked in 3 plants, in this case, in blue. And in one plant, it's understocked, it's in red. So instead of buying, she could now consider a cross shipment from the overstocked plant to the understocked plant. Lower left, stock build. If vendors are closed for summer break or Christmas break, we can build stocks. It's used a lot. And at the right-hand side, very important, reason codes. So key in DDMRP is order compliance. If the order is not followed, it means that some relevant information is missing in the tool. It's in the head of the planner, but not in the tool. So what we ask the planner to do whenever they deviate, either they don't order or they order more or they order less, is to put a reason code. Why did they deviate? And these reason codes are then analyzed in our tactical process, which we will see in a minute.
Excellent, excellent. So in 3 sentences.
Yes, exactly. And with the explanation from Peter, with the team, with what we learned, for sure, we were more efficient, more relevant, because when we did the first implementation with one plant, we have a question. But now, when we are doing it with another one, many times we can see the same question from the planner. So we are more efficient, more relevant. And with the tool, for sure, we are more visual and we can concentrate in 1 or 2 clicks on what is important. And this is really something I want to insist on. And it was something also why we decided, because when a planner is on holiday now, it's easier, not easier, but it's more easier for someone else to do the job, because with the color visualization, with all the things we had, he can follow the proposal and say, okay, for 1 or 2 days or 1 week, I follow the recommendation, I don't change anything, and we can trust that it will be okay.
Excellent. So now we've got some testimonials that will be posted, but in few words, Estelle, what was the outcome of that?
So the first one is from Philippe Leduc, who is working in the central supply chain team in Avignon. So Avignon is managing for a lot of French plants for trading goods. And the main thing for him, it was about the execution alert, because with the execution alert, we can see if we will be in stock out. And for us to be in stock out, that means bad customer service results. So it's very easy to see it and to follow it. And with a central view, for him, it's a good benefit.
Excellent. And another country? What about Jan?
Yes.
And I
Hello,
don't say his name. Huh? Sorry, Jan.
I challenge you to pronounce his name,
Okay.
no, Laurent?
Oken Schneider.
Yes, good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, so thanks, Jan. So we can't see you. we can see you, but we can't hear you. This is the opposite of me. Huh? So I will try to explain what you say. So in this video, Jan and his team, they are working for trading goods in Germany. And for sure, for us, it was a good help for the planning task. They save time, and as they are working as a team, sometimes there are 2 or 3 people who are managing the same supplier. They can put notes, for example. So if someone is chasing the supplier, she put a note, and for the other one who is coming, okay, I check, he already did the job. So for sharing information, it's very good. And also for the execution part, they put some priorities on the alerts with add notes, and they define some tips. And for sure, Jan is one of a super champion in German. because we need someone
super
German.
Super champions are key, definitely. All right, let's overall after this big journey, what is the current snapshot of the situation?
These are just some key figures at mid-March 2021. We have 45 locations, 10,000 buffers, 57 planners, 47 viewers. Now, 57 may seem a lot. There are two reasons for that. One is every planner normally has at least one, but most of the times two backups. So the actual number of users is a bit lower. But also, very importantly, we still are rolling out. So we don't mind if one planner does only 10 parts. We have planted the seed and he will continue on his own to roll out further. So this number of buffers will grow and the number of planners will maybe not grow so fast.
Excellent. And all this user community helps themselves, huh?
Well, we have a monthly meeting. This is one of the initiatives of Estelle. It works very well. We promote that planners bring up stories, tips and tricks. How did they work with the system? New columns, special situation, and that works really, really well because they are all planners. They are peers, and we can say something 10 times. But if another planner brings up the topic, it's much stronger. That's really, really powerful. Yes.
Excellent.
If I can illustrate, yes, sorry, Laurent, if I can illustrate just with one example, at the last community, we had a question from one country. I need to send forecast to my supplier because my supplier needs visibility. And he said, oh, I want to create the purchase order. No, with DDMRP, you don't have to create in advance. But we will show you how to, in Bitwise, use the system and send forecast to the supplier. So this is something we're sharing all together because for someone it was obvious, he did it, but for some others, he didn't know how to do that. So this is to illustrate with a concrete example.
Exactly. Wow, that's a really good example. Oh, and what's about the qualitative results? Estelle, yeah?
So top managers are confident. So that's nice because we are in the one Etex way. We are using the same tool. We are having the same way of working. We like the tool for sure. It's easy to work with a great visibility, with color. And I don't want to do the advertising of that. So we are confident with that. It saves time in the planning for sure, and all are at the same. That we save time, and we did with the DDMRP step 5. The execution is often underestimated, and we learned that this year we need more training and repetition on that subject because we believe that we will achieve a better on time in full, a better service level with working on this step 5. But we can show some figures about OTIF or service level because as we're starting with trading goods and raw material, this is not finished product. So that's why we can show you some figures about that. But it will improve. Okay.
Not yet. Let's take an appointment very soon. Yeah, finally, what are the next steps? Because you've done an amazing job, but is it finished?
No, absolutely not. That's the nice thing about being demand-driven. It's never finished. We like to think we are on a journey. We are on a journey to become a demand-driven adaptive enterprise. And for that, and you can look it up on the website of the DDI, you have 3 processes: as an operational, a tactical, and a strategic process. The last 18 months, we focused fully on operational to replenish the buffers. But we gathered so much information. We strongly believe that in the colors of the buffers and the relative sizes of the buffers, there is a lot of information. And now we are ready to do the second step. It's called demand-driven sales and operations planning. However, we have sales and operations planning already at Etex, and that term was a bit misleading, was generating confusion. So we call it internally as DDOM improvement, demand-driven operating model, improvement, which nicely illustrates that you are never finished. There is always room to analyze buffers, do some simulations and improve them. That is ongoing. And the time that is saved in the operation, as is proved in all our sites, we promote that that time is spent on this tactical process. And I think in the next slide, there are some examples. Again, it's a bit detailed, so I'm not going to go into the details, but I will just mention the topics. Upper left, global buffers is not part of DDMRP, but what we can do here is to monitor how the buffer looks on a global scale. It's very interesting because sometimes overall it's blue, but there are some sites where that particular buffer is in red, so you can do cross shipments. In the middle, top middle is the flow index, where we try to optimize the MOQs. Upper right, the non-active parts. If you read carefully, you can read the x-axis as number of days to top of green. It tells us that stock, basically. Lower left, reason codes. We talked about that already before. So in this tactical process, we analyze the reason codes and we know which buffers we need to fine-tune. And then last but not least, it's the top priority actually at the right, lower right, is order compliance. It all starts with a perfect order compliance. If the order compliance is not very high, it simply means that relevant information is in the heads of the planner, but not in the tool. And we need to get it in the tool. We are doing very good, actually. It is 90, most sites are around 93, 94%. Our initial target was 95, but I think we will increase that to 97 or 98 in the coming weeks.
Yeah, when you focus on a KPI, then it proves by itself, and as you put a lot of energy on it, yeah, it will go. So, yeah, what is the overall takeaway? We are getting to the end of this webinar, and we'll have a question and answer sessions for those who can stay a bit longer. But what are the 4 key takeaways to your journey?
Yes, but you can see team. So the takeaway is to create a team. And for sure with the T, I will put technical, because technical is very important and IT is very important. So for sure the interface we had help us, and the bi-directional interface with our ERP, all this stuff, for sure it was very good. It's for the team, the E, it's education. So we did the education in 2019 with the German Institute. In 2020, no budget, no money, no education with the German, but we know that it's very essential. So we need to promote training with local super champions, strong user community, because it's a key success. For the A, let's stay all. This is not supply chain. This is HR. This is IT. This is finance. Finance for sure. And they ask us, do you have your stock is decreasing? For HR, to be sure that in the development plan of the planner, they will have a training on DDMRP, for example. So this is for everybody very important. And the last one, for the M, this is management, and this is change management. It's very difficult. Sometimes we succeed very easily. Sometimes it was more hard, but we need time. We need time. Sometimes this is for some people, they need time to change. And we need the core team to facilitate this change, to be sure it will trust in the system, to be sure it will be able to learn. So this is for us all key takeaways, the team effort. Yes, and for the last one, so we can't see it. So Peter, maybe we can do it in live because today there is a lot of different things. So this is the image of the core team, and we are, Peter, we are
Flow promoters.
Yes, but we have the video and with the member of the core team, but for sure we are flow promoters for Etex. Don't stop the flow.
Laurent, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, excellent. So I can't stop laughing. So, okay, so now it's yeah, we've been doing it in 1 hour, and if you can stay a bit longer, just ask your questions, and then Peter and Estelle will be very, very happy to answer these questions. So I see that there are a lot of questions. Oh, yeah, let's go from Shiva. Thanks for your question, Shiva. Can we use DDMRP concepts in my milestone mining company? As we have 1 raw material, 4 finished semi-finished products, and 9 finished products, which is very less. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in itself, there is no reason, I think, to limit yourselves to get yourself limited by the number of parts. I would say if you manage stocks buffers in stocks, you could use it. You could use the concepts. Maybe a tool is too much for that few parts, but yeah, you have to see.
Yeah.
If I can comment also, Shiva, it was from the planner at the beginning. We started to manage stock for supply chain matter. That means finished product, semi-finished, and raw material. And we had a question from someone from the maintenance to manage spare parts. And for example, maybe this is something you can add if you are managing spare parts. This is something you can add. We will do the test. We just started to do that, but maybe.
Excellent. Another question coming from Clement. So SAP also propose DDMRP solution. Why do you choose not to use it?
Yeah. So I mentioned 4 products. The SAP was on the list. We evaluated it. The SAP offers it in 2 solutions, in the S/4HANA and in IBP, but we don't have either of those 2. We have the previous version, the SAP ECC system. So and on the short term, there is not possible for us to migrate. But it's a very good question, because in a way we are a SAP-centric company. So we always say for the short and midterm, we continue with B2Ys, but we always keep following what SAP is developing. So maybe in a few years' time, when we have migrated to S/4HANA or to IBP, we can reconsider this decision. But at the moment, for us, it was not possible at that point in time.
Okay, thanks for your answer. Let's go, Patrick. Yeah, since you had SKU little at the time, yeah, how do you manage the buffer settings of lower level buffers of common materials where demand is a mix of DDMRP and non-DDMRP managed products? Oh, yeah, great question.
I don't completely understand the last part, because in our case, if a product is managed under DDMRP, then all the demand and all the supply is for that product is sent to the tool. So in the case of a raw material, the demand can come from finished products, and then it doesn't matter if the finished product is in DDMRP or not, because we load the reservations on that specific raw material. Okay. And the parent, let's say, the finished product doesn't have to be in DDMRP. The first part of the question was related to small demand, I think.
No, small step by step. I mean, you implement it step by step, 5 SKU by 5 SKUs. So
yes,
that's
yeah. So each part that we onboard has all the data that it needs. There is no dependency between the parts. But Patrick, if it's not clear, please type another question and I can clarify further, and I wish you.
Okay, very good. So Christophe is asking, is it mandatory to have a unique database, unique ERP within the company to deploy DDMRP methodology? If not, how can you consolidate the data between multiple sites?
Yes, that is also a very good question. Although we don't have that issue, we have one SAP system. But I know that, well, Laurent, you can
Yeah.
Hans, if you want, but I know a little bit about the deployment scenarios. So you have B2Is in three deployment scenarios. We use the simplest version, meaning a single region, single database. You can have multiple region, single database, or you can have multiple region, multiple database. Depending on the deployment scenario, you can link to multiple ERP systems. I think even with single region, single database, or the one that we have, we could potentially interface to SAP systems, but we never investigated that because we don't have that issue.
Yeah, and some of our customers are connecting 7, 8 different ERP systems, and here B2Wise is becoming a control tower for all the flow, all the supply chain end to end, and that's become a very, very powerful visualization of what's happened in each step of the supply chain. All right, let's go with Damir. How do you handle strategic raw materials if there is only few suppliers which are facing with the lack of raw materials for their own production?
Yeah,
so
Estelle, maybe.
Yeah, Estelle, sorry.
I don't know, Peter, if you no, just you okay. I will try and you will complete, Peter. But just to repeat, we decided to, with the DDMRP, to have a quantity and the date, and for the rest, we are managing that in SAP. That's why we can choose the supplier in SAP, and also regarding the crisis, we can put some element in B2Wise, and you can put a variability factor or demand factor. We can play with this if we know that we will be in a crisis, or if we know that we will implement or supply for a new supplier. So maybe Peter, you want to add something?
Yeah. Or? You mentioned the variability. So for this case, I would use the lead time factor, because if the supplier is unreliable, you can increase the lead time factor, which gives you a bigger buffer. The second thing that we can do here is to use the, and you already mentioned it earlier on, Estelle, is the order projection. So for these raw materials, we can project the supply or the demand and project it on supplier orders, expected orders, 12 months into the future. So we can give that supplier already a kind of forecast what we expect to buy from him in the coming year without sending out purchase orders.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a very complete answer. So a question coming from Anup. How did you manage the buffers for parts having sporadic or spiked demand? Did you create excess inventory if the demand gets qualified as spike?
Erratic.
Yes.
Erratics, yeah. This subject, it's a big subject, Anup.
So what you do with erratic is a special planning method in B2Wise. Is first of all, B2Wise can detect erratics itself. So you don't have to say this part is erratic. No, it checks the consumption history over the past period, and there you can put thresholds. If it was used less than, let's say, 8 times or so, then it should be considered as erratic. And then there is special calculation formulas, which tries to achieve the service level, let's say 95% for that part, looking backwards in the consumption. So the results will be a little bit more stock, of course, but it will guarantee a kind of minimum service level.
Okay, excellent. A comment from Shiva that was talking about the spare parts. Yes, Estelle, you are correct. We have a lot of spare parts, but for managing that, how DDMRP concept used as that is only a buying side. Yeah. Buying is it's only buy and use. So how can you answer on that?
Shall I take it, Estelle? You want to do it?
Yes, if you want.
So only the buying side. In our case, it's not completely true because we have maintenance orders in SAP, like production orders, but for maintenance. And if in the maintenance order you put the spare part, that would generate a reservation, which is seen as a demand. Most of the time, it's not like that. So the usage is more ad hoc, and typically the usage is low. So we already mentioned erratic. That is a good planning method I think we can use for spare parts. Another concept which you can use for the spare parts is the minimum ADU. So ADU is the average daily usage. Normally in DDMRP, that is the basis for calculating the yellow and the red and the green zones. But if the ADU is very small because you have sporadic demand, your buffers would be very small and you would risk stockouts. Now to come around that, you can put a minimum ADU. The system would use the minimum whenever the calculated ADU is lower than the minimum. When the calculated ADU exceeds minimum, it starts using the calculated ADU.
Excellent, excellent. A question coming from Luis. So it's I'm curious about which are the key reasons why Etex think that B2Wise is a control tower, and why Etex feels that B2Wise is a control tower. Yeah. Don't
control
know.
Tower.
Maybe
Yeah,
because
you talked about
yes, with B2Wise, in one click, you can see with color visualization where we are in blue, where we are in red, and maybe with that we can very easily see if we need to replenish to the supplier, or if we need to do some stock transfer between two plants. Maybe this is the answer. I don't know, or maybe you have another suggestion.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. No, it's great answer. Peter, maybe another comment on that?
I was thinking about the distribution network that we've presented earlier on. So traditionally in SAP, everything is authorized by plant. In B2I, so at DDMRP, we try to turn it around and authorized by portfolio. So if you are a portfolio planner for paints, let's say paints, then you have the full visibility of the whole supply chain for all the paints, but only the paints.
Excellent. Okay. So there are other questions, but still the time is running, and I definitely want to thank you, Peter and Estelle, for this presentation. You had done an amazing job, and I'm waiting. I'm curious when we will be in 100 plants. Let's take an appointment for 2 months. Is it good? Is it enough, or do you need more time?
No, we will go on holiday now. 1 year of holiday, so maybe in 1 year.
I think, to be honest, that one of our success factors is that we don't push for those kind of things. We just, in a way, sometimes I think this solution is selling itself. We don't have to push hard. They can go on their own pace, and sometimes they need a bit more time, but it will be all right. We're confident in that. So yeah, maybe
Excellent.
2 months, 3 months, or maybe the end of the year for some plants. Yeah.
And it's
Excellent.
always better to trust your colleague than Peter or I, because okay, they know, but okay, but my colleague who is doing the same job as me every day is using DDMRP, is happy, and is doing the promotion. We don't need to do that, and we don't want to push, for sure. As Peter said, it's not a push approach, it's more a pull. So okay, if you want to implement, we will be the support, we will help you. But if you don't want, we have other plans to do. So let's start with those who want to do it.
You mean, Estelle, that your methodology of rolling out is demand-driven? That's what you mean?
Yes, maybe. Maybe.
That's a good idea. I didn't thought about it, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, nice.
It's demand-driven, exactly. Because for change management is important. And if we want to push something, if the guy doesn't want to change, it doesn't work. So demand-driven approach, exactly.
Excellent. So that's the keyword for the end of of this webinar. Implementing demand-driven is a demand-driven approach with your team. So good things to think. Okay. Thank you everybody. Thank you for all your participation coming from all around the world. That's very good, and thank you for all your questions. Thanks again, Peter. Thanks again, Estelle, and let's keep going. Yeah, let's keep going. Bye bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks a
Bye
lot.
bye.
Bye bye.